Welcome everyone to skill number 4, the follow-up. Now listen, follow-up covers really 2 topics. One is getting people in conversation and keeping them in conversation, setting your right sort of expectation. And the second part is answering questions and dealing with objections, overcoming objections, because that used to strike fear into my heart. So we're going to cover both of those today. I'm very excited to be able to provide this information to you. And I've got a couple different resources that we're going to utilize today. One is from a recent course that I did on how to recruit 20 people in 30 days. I talk about follow-up in a kind of unique way, and I want you to check out this training. And we're going to deal with the first part first, which makes sense, logical, right? And then we'll get to objections after that. So check it out. Follow-up. Follow-up. Now, I used to never follow up. When I'd go talk to people, and if they said, "Oh, I'm thinking about it," or if they said, "Oh, I'm not sure, I need to talk to my spouse," or whatever, I would just avoid them. "Oh, they're not ready, and some will, some won't, so what? Next." And I would just keep moving. And I want you to understand a couple things about follow-up. The first thing to understand is you're asking people to make a business decision, to actually start a business. Most people have been trained to be employees for their whole life. You're asking people to start a business. And then we expect them to say, "Oh, sure, sign me up." Because the price is so low and it's so easy to do, so flexible, all that stuff. And all that stuff's true. But here's another thing that's true. Most people need a little bit of time to kind of let this sink in, to feel more comfortable with this decision, to get a little bit more information. And the most frustrated people in network marketing are the people who they themselves saw the opportunity and they said, "Yes, I'm ready to go. I'm in. Let's go." If that's you, you've probably been frustrated ever since because you talked to somebody and they're not ready to go in the first exposure. So there's something called the clock dial. And if this is high noon, right? And the clock dial moves, and people are on different parts of the clock dial. So let's say the clock dial is at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m., whatever. Say 3 o'clock. Clock dial is at 3 o'clock. And what that means for somebody is something's happened in their life that they don't particularly like. Maybe something's changed in their work, something's changed in their cash flow, something's changed with their bills, something's changed that's caused them to be a little dissatisfied, but nobody else knows. They're the only one that knows, okay? So 3 p.m. people, or 3 o'clock people might be open, but you know what they're more interested in? Fixing the problem. They're not interested in starting something new. They're more invested in what they're currently doing, and they're trying to fix whatever situation that they're in. Okay? If they got a big problem at work, they're trying to fix that problem at work. If they got a big problem with the bills, they're trying to fix that problem with the bills. You know what I mean? So 3 o'clock, something's happened. They're the only one that knows, and they're trying to fix it. 6 o'clock. Now they're not the only one that knows. They know that something's wrong. Now the family knows that something's wrong. Other people know that something's wrong. And it's like DEFCON 4. I mean, it's really a difficult situation, and they're in scramble mode. Okay? 9 o'clock it's become obvious that if something doesn't change, they're in big trouble. Okay? They've got to change, otherwise they start to be open basically between here and here. They start to be open to opportunity. High noon, they're saying, "Sign me up. I'm ready to go. Sign me up. That's high noon. Okay? So we're going to be talking to as many people as possible, and we're going to be following up, but we're also going to accept the fact that not everybody's going to be at high noon. You're trying to catch them between 9 and noon. Here, they got ego involved, and they're either everything's going great, well, oh, there's a problem, but they're invested, they get their ego involved, and they're not really ready to go look at something new. They don't want to give up on fixing the problem that they have. Here, it's getting pretty bad, but they're still, they're going to fight through it. Here, it's over. It's clear that something's got to change. The old path is not going to do it. Maybe they got fired here. Maybe they got, demoted here. Maybe they got a huge tax bill here that created a problem for them, or they got a big, medical bill here, and this is what they have going on is not going to solve it. They got to do something. This point is they got to do something. Here is their sign me. So these modes, you can still sign people up in every place of the clock dial, but this is where the money is. This is where people are like, I've been waiting. I've been looking for something. I'm ready to go. So we're going to keep following up, and this could change in a moment. This could change. You talk to somebody in the first day of your 20 and 30, and they're here. Day 5, they're here. Day 10, they're here. Day 15, they're just like, okay, I got to do something. They're here. So here, they're not interested. They're invested in something else. They're focused someplace else. Here, they have a slight interest, but they're still distracted by other things. Here, interest is getting pretty high. Here, sign me up. Okay? So we're going to be following up in this 30 days and also beyond this 30 days. And we're just going to accept the fact that we're going to talk to enough people and we're going to follow up professionally to be able to find them in a moment where they're ready to be open. Same prospect, not open, maybe open, open. Same prospect. Okay? So we've got to get good at follow-up. Follow-up, it takes an average. If you're doing face-to-face interactions with a prospect, it takes between 4 to 6 exposures for a person to make a decision and join. Between 4 and 6. If you're talking to them on the phone, you're sending them a text message, if you're sitting down with them for coffee, whatever it happens to be, 4 to 6 exposures. Now, if you're just doing social media, 15 to 30 exposures. Using social media. Why? I mean, I tell the story. Have you seen any ads for the MyPillow people? Hi, my name's Chuck Lindell or whatever his name is, Mike Lindell, and come buy MyPillow because MyPillow is amazing. Go to mypillow.com to buy the best pillow ever. Now, I've seen that ad hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Marina has asked me to buy a MyPillow, and I still haven't done it, even though I intend to. So I've seen probably 1,000 times online and hundreds of times on television. And I have somebody in the family saying, yes, do it. But if somebody gave me an easy just made it easy for me, I would do it. But even though I'm intending to, it's taking more exposures for me to finally pull the trigger and do that. See what I'm saying? So if you see an ad that totally fits you, like I saw an ad, sometimes it's one exposure. If a person's really hungry. I'll give you an example. I saw an ad yesterday that one ad made me buy. And here's why. I'm very inflexible. I can't touch my toes to save my life. No shot. I mean, literally, no kidding. That's about as far as I can go right now. I'm so inflexible. Now, this ad shows a guy, and he's doing the full splits, sitting on the floor, full sideways splits. And he said, I can have you doing the splits in 5 weeks. And I was like, no way. And I read the copy, and he said, I started, and he started same spot as I started. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever, because my inflexibility is creating back problems for me, all the different kinds of things for me. I am invested in getting flexible. I have a person coming to my house right now stretching me. And this guy says, because of his science and the way he's figured it out, and it's a completely different than what everybody else does, that he can have me doing the splits in 5 weeks? What? Fine. I read it all the testimonials. I watched all the videos. The sales page was amazing. Presentation was professional, sharp, cost me $29. I bought. Done. One time, one exposure. Why? Because I've made the decision very recently that I got to get my flexibility in shape. I am here. Straight up high noon. Sign me up. Give me the thing. Here's my money. Okay? Now, if you would have talked to me about that doing the splits a year ago, I was here. I'm not interested. Right? But right now, my back hurts. Right now. Because I'm so inflexible that it's taken my body out of whack, and I've had a personal, physical therapist tell me that if I don't get flexible, I'm going to have back problems the rest of my life. And I see an average guy doing the splits. Now, if I can do the splits, I'll show you if I do. If I can, I'm still hugely skeptical of being able to do the splits. I'd be happy. He told me, right? He was here day one. By his third day, he was touching the floor, touching his toes. By day 7, he was palms to the floor. It would be such a breakthrough if I was palms to the floor. Forget splits. You know what I mean? Splits is like telling people if they join your business, they're going to get rich, right? They might just want to make a few extra bucks and enjoy the product. So for me, I just want progress. So one exposure for that, done. Hundreds of exposures for my pillow. Still haven't pulled the trigger, even though I'm interested. Okay? We need to do the exposures necessary in order to be able to help a person make a decision, make it easy. If we find them at high noon, they're going to buy, they're going to join. If we find them here, it's going to take a little bit of a process. We're going to stay in communication. So we want to go, the only reason for an exposure now, what is an exposure? Anything that helps to educate the prospect. Okay? So it could be a product sample. It could be sit down for coffee and talk about it. It could be showing them the compensation plan. It could be having them watch a video, having them read a magazine, having them check out a clinical study, meeting another person, a 3-way call, a 3-way messenger with your upline, getting them on a Zoom call, having them attend an event, whatever it happens to be. The only reason for an exposure of any sort is to schedule the next exposure. Remember I talked about conversation is the key to business? The only reason for you to have an exposure, you're going to sit down with them for coffee. Okay? Your purpose in that coffee, before you sit down, before you order your latte or whatever it is, your mission needs to be not to close them, not to sign them. Your mission needs to be to schedule the next exposure. When you go walk into Starbucks, your mission needs to be, when I'm done with this conversation, I need to schedule the next one. And I need to schedule it before I leave this one. So, a person, you're sitting down with coffee. We're going to be going from exposure exposure to exposure to exposure to exposure. 4 to 6 on average, 15 to 30 if it's online, exposure to exposure. So let's say you sit down with them for coffee and they say, well, you know, I'm just not sure about the product. So you could, if the product is sampleable, you could have them try the product as another exposure. And you could schedule a time to get back together with them to see how that product experience was for them. Now, you could either gift them a product sample, or you can have them sign up as a customer just to see what the customer experience is like as part of their homework to do the business. If you're going to go buy a McDonald's, you might go walk into McDonald's to see what the customer experience was like and go buy something, right? To see how it all works. Have them try out the product. Have them be a product of the product, right? So if it's not sampleable, let's say it's a service or something, or it's a bigger ticket or whatever it happens to be, if it's not sampleable, maybe it's more information about the product. So you have an exposure and they want to know more, and you could send them to a Zoom or a webinar or a YouTube video or something that explains the product in more detail. Yeah? So you can send them to that exposure and then schedule the time to get together with them after that. And I'm going to talk to you about how to make sure that you book the next exposure. And after that, they did that, and then so first one's coffee, and you're sitting down talking. Second one is a YouTube video on the product. And afterward, you follow up with them afterwards, and they say, well, I got to talk, I need to know more about the compensation plan. Then you could schedule a Skype call with them, and you could sketch it out for them and show them exactly how that worked, okay? And then they say, well, are other people having success? And then you could schedule a 3-way conversation with somebody that's in your business, or you could show them a testimonial of what's going on inside of your business. See what I mean? And then it's next, and then it's next, and it's next, and it's next. Your goal is to never finish an exposure without scheduling the next exposure. Never, ever, ever. Okay? So exposure to exposure to exposure to exposure, never stop until they make the decision to join. Now, once they've made the decision to join, this doesn't stop. You're going to keep going with exposures. They've joined as a customer. You're going to keep going with exposures until they have made the decision yes or no on the business. If they made a decision yes on the business, you're going to keep going with exposures until they have success in the business, right? And once they have success, you're going to keep going with exposures to help them advance their success in this business. So this is a fundamental thing that we're dealing with. Now, how do you schedule the next exposure? Give me an example. A proper invite for follow-up. Let's say I sit down with somebody for coffee. And we have a chat. I tell them my story. I show them the business. And they say, I need to talk to my spouse. Usually, when a person says, I need to talk to my spouse, that is code word for one of two things. One is, I'm just using this as an excuse to get away from you because I'm not really interested, and I'm just going to put this out there so I can get away and think. That's one. Two is, that spouse has told them in no uncertain terms, don't you dare join another opportunity without talking to me, because if you do, you're going to be in big trouble, buddy. Don't do it, right? So you need to give them some space. Some people say, well, let me talk to your spouse. You're getting in a weird dynamic. Stay away from that. But if you could tell the person, say, let's say I'm talking to a guy. He says, I got to talk to my wife because, we make all these decisions together, right? Fine. What I don't want is for him to go home and try and verbally say what I've been saying to him, because he's going to screw it up. And there's all kinds of dynamics. He's going to say, honey, and she's going to say, don't honey me. And there's going to be all this little stuff that's going on right? So I have to equip him for this next exposure. I say, listen, let me give you the perfect way for your spouse to truly understand, because she might be able to hear it from you, she might not. She might be able to hear it from me, she might not. But there's a video I have here that's on YouTube. It's 30 minutes long. If I gave you a link to this video, would you show it to your spouse? And let your spouse make a decision based upon what she sees there. If I gave you this, sorry. I thought I hit do not disturb, but I didn't. Everybody say hi to Marina. Hi, Marina. If I gave you this link to this YouTube video, would you show it to your spouse? Question number one. If I, would you? If I gave you this link, if I gave you this product sample, if I gave you this magazine, if I scheduled a three-way call, if I invited you to a Zoom, if I invited you to this training that's on Saturday in the local area, if I, whatever, would you? In this particular example, if I gave you a link that you could share with your spouse that would explain it better than you or I could, would you show it to her as part of that conversation you're going to have together to be able to make a decision? If I, would you? Wait for the answer. They'll 99 out of 100 times say yes to that question. If I, would you? This is my secret weapon. This series of questions, my secret weapon. If I, would you? Okay? Next question. When do you think you'll have a chance to see it together for sure? When do you think you and your wife will have a chance to see that video for sure? Okay? When do you think you'd have a chance to use that product sample I'm going to give you right now for sure? Right? So get a time. When do you think you and your spouse, you and your wife could watch this? Yeah, we could watch it, in the next 2 days. Fantastic. So, if I called you after that, you'll have seen it or done it for sure, right? Pardon my writing, but if I gave you a link to a YouTube video that would explain this better than you or I could to your spouse, would you show it to her? Would you watch it together? Yes or no? Yes. When do you think you could see it for sure? I could see it by Wednesday night, for sure by Wednesday night. If they say, I don't know when I could see it, just give me a time for sure. So I don't waste your time and you don't waste mine. Just give me a time that absolutely by then you'll be able to see it. Okay, by Friday. Fantastic. So if I called you on Saturday, you'll have seen it for sure, right? Now they're going, oh, okay, this is a professional process. What's the best number and time for me to call? Call your cell. What time? 10 a.m. on Saturday? All right, fantastic. I've scheduled the next exposure. The next exposure is 10 a.m. Saturday. You understand? See, some people say, I need to talk to my spouse. They have no intention of talking to their spouse. They're just saying words, right? To finish this exposure, finish their coffee, and move on with their day. But they might be like me, somewhere on the clock dial, that if you professionally go through this, you're not going to convince somebody to do something they don't want to do. But if you professionally go through this, you're going to help them, right? So if I go to them and say, if I gave you a link to a video that would explain it better than you or I. It's about 30 minutes long on YouTube. Would you watch it with your spouse as a way for her and you to understand this more completely? Sure. In their mind, they're like, fine, give me the link. When do you think you could see it for sure? Now, internally, on a subconscious level, they're like, oh, this is a business conversation. When do you think you can see it for sure? I'm not so sure. What? Just give me a time for that absolutely positively you'll have seen it. Answering that first question, give them a link, right? You ask, if I would you, they have maybe a 10% chance of watching that video. You ask the second question, when do you think you can see it for sure? You take it to 50%, just from that second question. So if I called you on Saturday, you'll have seen it for sure, right? I just took it to 80%. What's the best number and time for me to call? Cell phone? Want me to text you first? 10 a.m. on Saturday? Fantastic. I'll text you at 10 a.m., make sure that you're clear, and then I'll give you a buzz. All right, talk to you Saturday. And I'm gonna text you right now the link to that YouTube video. Can't wait to hear what you think about it. Okay? Now, I've done my job. My job is to go from the coffee exposure to the video exposure. Now, some people, when you call them on Saturday, you're going to text them, hey, you available? They're going to say, oh, sorry, I didn't have a chance yet. I haven't had a chance to watch it. Okay? Or you call them and they say, I haven't had a chance to watch it. Life got in the way, I got too busy. You could get mad at them, and I used to do that, and it doesn't work out well. I would not suggest it. Or you could just say, that's no problem. When do you think you could watch it? For sure, for sure. Okay? And I literally say, no problem. And I say, for sure, for sure. Play with this. I'm telling you it works. And then I would go through this process. So if I called you after that, you'll see it for sure, right? All right, what's the best number and time for me to call? All right, boom. And I've just scheduled the next exposure. I get to the next exposure. You've seen it. All right, what'd you like best? You get into another conversation. They say, you know what? I just don't understand how this thing works financially. Say, no problem. If we got online and we just did a FaceTime or a Skype conversation, do you have Skype? Yeah, I do. Or do you have FaceTime? Yeah, I do. If I got online and I showed you how the compensation plan worked, would you be willing to take the 15 minutes in order to be able to learn how it works? Because I think you're going to love it. All right, when do you think you could do that? When are you available? Let's schedule a time. All right, fantastic. I schedule the time, and now I've scheduled the next exposure. I schedule the time, I do that thing. Afterwards, they might have some more questions. And then I take them to the next thing, and I use this process to do it. Whatever the next assignment is, if I give you this solution, would you take the solution? When do you think you could take the action for sure? If I called you after that, you'll have seen it or done it for sure, right? What's the best number and time for me to call? Fantastic. My goal is to just keep this going. Exposure, 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 exposure. Using this with assignments, having a list of things that's not just my voice. There's video links, there's Zoom calls, there's events, there's product itself, there's literature, there's clinical reports, there's website information, there's other leaders that I'm going to be using in these exposures. I'm going to introduce them to other people. I'm going to let them see the big picture. All different kinds of things. But the goal is continue the exposures. That's it. Now, what you want to do is condense this as much as possible, and you need to be patient. In this process, I used to do this just for inviting people to events. I was so good at this. Oh my gosh. Once I had an exposure with somebody, it was very difficult for that person to avoid the next exposure with me. And I took people that were here on the clock dial. They were not ready at all. And because of exposures, I swung them through so they were in the zone where they're ready to make a decision. So it's like, they're not going to make a decision they don't want to make. But I'll give you an example. If you're dating somebody and you're hanging out with them a lot and you're seeing them a lot, there's lots and lots of exposures. If there is a chance for the two of you to get together, the exposure is going to help a lot. Like, I'm not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested, then you're making out. See what I mean? Just like, nope, 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 not dating, nope, nope, I'm ready. Let's go. What happens? And the other thing I will tell you, with these exposures, an entrepreneur, somebody who has either entrepreneurial background or entrepreneurial hopes and dreams, if they get exposed to a business of any kind, they can't help but have their imagination start to go to work. They can't help it. You start talking about the product, they're going to start thinking about prospects that are going to like that product. You start talking about business, they're going to start thinking about people that maybe they could have to join their team. You start thinking about markets and product categories and different kinds of things, they're going to start thinking about, well, is this for real? But if you do it one time, you don't really capture their imagination. If you keep the exposures going, an entrepreneur is going to pick this apart and get excited. That's what's going to happen. But you have to keep the conversation going. Yes, you have to keep the conversation going. All businesses conversation. Just keep it going, keep it going. That helps us accomplish our goal of education and understanding. Now, the thing that strikes fear into the hearts of so many people is objections, questions. What do I do? How do I handle all this stuff? And to help you with that, we have a special course. I don't think I have it over here. But how to handle, what is it called? Mastering Objections? Mastering Objections. And that's available to you inside of your GoPro Academy. And you can watch that in its entirety. But I took a piece out of that to give you 4 steps to mastering any objection. And it will give you a lot of confidence. It helped me, and I know it's going to help you. So check it out. Let's talk about 4 steps to handling objections. 4 steps. There are 4 easy steps to handling an objection. Objection shows up. Let me give you something for your notes, okay? Well, actually, let's do this together. Well, that clock up there is giving me all kinds of different numbers. So, give me an objection. Go ahead. It's a cult? We're going to start with a cult? All right. No time. No money. It's a pyramid. Scam. Spouse will kill me. Huh? Failed before. Okay, I'll get there. Hold on. Can't sell. Too expensive. Huh? I'm not like you. I'm not a salesperson kind of thing. Does that fall into that category kind of? Don't know anybody. Don't like people. No education. Don't want to pressure friends. Money is evil. Huh? What? College is my priority. Doesn't work. Ponzi scheme. Doesn't work. Only the top make, huh? What? Science doesn't back what up? The of network marketing part? Or the product? Okay, product problems. Saturated. Need security. Huh? Show me how much you making. Bad reviews. Huh? Lost your job. Oh, you love my job? Well, we'll do both. Don't need the money. Huh? Not on social media. Huh? I got saturated. Huh? Bad economy. Hold on, let me do another one. Bad economy. Good economy. No economy. Huh? Competition is less? Oh, so that's product price again. Support. Okay, no support. Yeah, lose benefits. Too good to be true. Good. I got. Well, here's one. Got to pray about it. Huh? Research. Well, why do I have to pay? Let me think about it. Do I have to go to an event? I think we got it. This is a pretty depressing list, yeah? There's really only two. You ready for this? There's really only two. They have a limiting belief about network marketing, or they have a limiting belief about themselves. That's really it. Let's go through our list just for fun. Number one. Oh, did I cover that already? Do I have this here? Yeah, throw that up. Throw that slide up, please. Limiting belief about themselves, limiting belief about network marketing. So, cult, what's that? A self or network marketing? Network marketing. No time. No money. Pyramid. Scam. Spouse. Failed before. Could be both. Can't sell. Too expensive. No contacts. I need to pray about it. Need to think about it. Don't like people. No educational background. I have to pressure friends. They think they have to pressure friends because of network marketing. That's what they think. Okay? Money is evil. College is my priority. This doesn't work. It's a Ponzi. Doesn't work again. Only the top make money. It's saturated. Too good to be true. I need security. How much you making? Network marketing. Bad reviews.
I lost my job. I love my job. No social media. Bad economy. Good economy. No economy. No support. A little of both, but I put on the network marketing side. I don't want to lose my benefits. So I need to do more research. A little bit of network marketing probably, maybe both. But why do I have to pay? Just general ignorance. That's its own, like, I'm going to give you an opportunity to take that one back. Don't say that out loud ever again. So, the rest of them are just, you see what I'm saying? It's just so once you understand, they've got a limiting belief, they got a block when it comes to this as a profession, or they got a limiting belief or blocks about themselves. That's it. That's it. So let's talk about this. Limiting beliefs about self. Limiting beliefs about network marketing. Here's 4 steps to handle objections. 4 steps. 4 simple steps that will help you deal with any issue, anything that comes up. You're going to be bulletproof. 4 steps. Step number 1 is to listen. What do consultants do? Listen and ask questions. They bring up the objection. You might listen, and you might also, in that listen box, ask some questions for clarity. So let me, when you say you don't have the money, are you saying you absolutely don't have it, or I haven't shown you enough to justify it? Or are you saying that you'd have to get creative? Are you saying, what are you saying? Help me understand it, just for clarity. Get clear on it, okay? So listen to the point that you understand what it is that is the objection as best you can. And you might have to ask 2, 3, 4 questions. If you notice when I interact with people, how many questions I ask? Tons. And I'm genuinely curious. I genuinely want to know. Person says, I don't have the time. I'm like, wow, really? When you say you don't have time, what do you mean? First of all, how much time are you thinking this might take? And how much? I just don't understand when you say you don't have time. So help me understand. And not to fight them, just to get understanding and have them feel heard. Second is to relate. Relate. Here's what I mean by relate. I know how you feel. I understand. That's a valid thing. Whatever it is, I don't have the money. I get it. Who has a lot of extra money laying around nowadays? At the end of the month, what I've kind of learned is no matter how much you make at the end of the month, it's about the same. You know, we find a way to spend it, and we figure out, and we keep ourselves in this tough situation, and credit cards, and all these different kind of things in order to be able to keep ourselves alive. I get it, man. I get it. Extra? Extra would be nice. Extra, I should be saving. Extra, I should be taking care of my kids' college education now before that shows up. I get it, man. I'm with you. Relate. You and me, we're the same. I don't know about this network marketing thing. Me too. That's the way I was too when I looked at this, for sure. Relate to them. Connect with them, whatever it is. Or at least, if it's not personal, at least empathize with them. Person says, I'm a physician, and you wouldn't understand, and you're not a physician. I get it. I'm not a physician. I can only imagine. But it has to be a big challenge for you. I would imagine that it would be. That's got to be hard, so find a way to relate to them. You can relate, you can start to build a bridge. And then tell stories. Then ask, if I would you. Listen, relate, tell stories, ask questions. You can do this for any objection in the world. You can do this for any objection in the world. And it's easy. It's so crazy. It's not hard. What's your name? Hi, Sierra. How are you? Nice to see you. So Sierra's here. And I go to Sierra. How old are you, Sierra? 17 years old. Sierra's sitting here getting some information at 17. Good for you. So Sierra shows up, and let's just say for just a moment that she's 18 so she could become a distributor. It's different in different states. 3 months and she'll be one. And let's say Sierra says, are you finish high school?
No, I'm a senior.
Oh, you're a senior? Okay. And after that, plan on going to college?
Yes.
All right, cool. So let's say I talk to her and I say, Sierra, I got this, this cool thing, and I tell my story and I do the thing. And you see what it is. And I say, Sierra, what'd you like best? And she says, oh, it really, I like the business. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Would you like to join? I'm a 9. I don't have any money. This is all great, but I don't have any money. I'm in high school. I'm just getting ready to turn 18. Sierra, I would say, Sierra, listen, I get it. I understand. And guess what? For a lot of people, even myself, older than you, money is always kind of a big deal. Trying to figure out how you're going to save it, how you're going to deal with it, how you're going to have a nest egg, in case something happens, how do you have a little extra? How do you make this thing work, right? So dealing with that, even at an older age than you, I was stressed out about it. So I totally understand trying to figure out how you're going to make your life work, how you're going to make college work, how you're going to make all that stuff work, and is there space to be able to do this, and is it worth the investment? Because I know you're going to have to invest in those credits in college, right? So I totally understand where you're at, and I respect it. But let me tell you a story. Then you go to story. And now my story is way different than Sierra, yeah? I mean, I don't know how different it is at the time of life, but there's big differences here. You don't have to be the same person in order to be able to prospect. You understand what I'm saying? You can be different colors, different ages, different whatever. If you use this approach, you're still going to be fine. So I go to Sierra and I say, let me tell you a story. When I first was introduced to this thing, I had no money. And matter of fact, I not only had no money, I had debt. I'd started a little family and I had debt, and I was really worried. And I didn't know how I was going to be able to create a future for myself. I just didn't know. And I realized when I looked at this that if I didn't make some changes, then I might never have any money. If I just followed the crowd, I was going to have what the crowd had. So I looked around and I looked at what successful people did and the risks they were willing to take and how much they were willing to invest in themselves. And just like investing in college, I used this as an opportunity to invest in myself, to grow me, to become an entrepreneur, because I wanted to go into business for myself. And I sense that you probably do too, right? Yeah, to be in business for yourself, there's no better school than this, to be able to build yourself a future. That's what I realized for me is if I invested in this for me, I didn't go to college. I wasn't smart enough to do it. But I decided to take that little bit that I would have invested in college, I invested it in growing my business, and I found a support system that would help me and guide me and be patient with me and help me every single step of the way. So let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to turn a little bit of an investment into an entrepreneurial school and build a business while you were getting your education, to be able to create an income so by the time you graduate, you've got a business that's already working and kicking out income for you. If I could show you how to do that and balance that and be resourceful enough to figure it out like you're figuring out college, if I could show you that, would you be willing to take the next step and at least take another look? Of course. So, was that a script? No, but it was a formula. And I could do it for any single person. It's very difficult for somebody to say no to me if they want it. If they want it. What's your name, sir? Michael. So I go to Michael. Michael says, you know what? I say, we start going through, and he says, look, I don't have the time.
I really don't have time right now.
Oh,
I have a lot of kids.
A lot of kids?
And a business.
And a business? What kind of business?
I do concrete and landscaping.
Concrete and landscaping?
Yes, sir.
Wow. And where do you do that?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. Okay. So that's tough on your body probably, yeah?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, pretty tough. How long have you been doing it?
18 years.
Wow. So listen, when you said I don't have the time, that's funny, is I had the same exact thought when I looked at this. Who has time? We're raising a family, we're taking care of kids, trying to have a minute for ourselves every once in a while, trying to take care of our bodies, trying to build a business, do all this stuff. I got enough to get to the weekend and collapse and get enough energy to start the new week.
Well, the weekend goes for my wife right here.
Huh?
The weekend goes to my wife.
The weekend goes to your wife. Yeah. So between all of that, what you're dealing with is overwhelm, right?
Oh yeah.
I was dealing with the same thing. Same exact thing.
Really?
I know where you're coming from. And let me tell you, when I looked at this, I almost said no because I didn't have the time. But here's what went through my head. What happens if I just keep doing what I'm doing now? 5 years from today, where am I? 10 years from today, where am I? More stressed out or less? And I realized for me, I was going to be more stressed out. Every year I delayed making some changes. My body was going to suffer. My family was going to suffer. My income was going to suffer. My future was going to suffer. So what I realized for me is that if I really wanted to have a better future for them and for my family and for myself, I needed to make a few changes. And it was hard at the beginning. But you know what I figured out a way to carve out a little bit. And you know how I viewed it? I viewed it, all the time I was already spending, that was my keep the machine going time. But I carved out a little bit. Just at the beginning was just like 10 hours a week that I carved out. And that was for my family. That was for my future, really for them. You know, I carved that time out, and that time was precious. Every minute I spent there was a minute to buy my time back so I can be with them and give them opportunities and take care of all these different things. So I realized that if I didn't carve the time out now, and if I didn't sacrifice that now and figure that out now, that I wasn't being the leader of that household that I wanted to be. I wasn't being the man that I wanted to be. I wasn't taking care of the people that I wanted to take care of. That's what went through my mind. So I said, you know what, I'm going to make the time. And I figured it out. So let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to do what I did, if I could show you how to carve out that time and invest it in your family, in your future and all that stuff, if I could show you how to make a few changes so your whole life changes, right? And we did this together. I can help you as you build it. It's not going to be overnight, but it's going to be worth it. If I could show you how to do that without blowing your whole life up, would you be willing to take another look? Would you be willing to take the next step?
You know, with concrete, it's, you know, I mean, man, you get tired. You're out in the sun all day.
I get it.
I mean, I get home at 6, 7 o'clock at night, and I'm freaking beat.
I get it.
Beat.
I was the same way.
And so, I mean, from 7 to what? I mean,
I get it.
Just a couple hours a night. I mean,
yep. I totally understand. But back to the same question. Here's the question I asked myself, and you have to ask the question for yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to do something you don't want to do. But to be your friend in this situation, I got to tell you that for things to change, something's got to change. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, fast forward 5 years and you'll see where you're at. And you think you're tired now? You're good. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder, right?
Yeah.
And as your employees let you down one by one, like mine did one by one, and more gets thrown on your shoulders every single day, you realize it gets heavy. Mm-hmm. So I decided to make a change. You don't have to, but I would wish it for you.
Oh, I definitely want to.
Yeah, if you want to, I can show you how.
Okay.
You open?
Yep.
All right. See what I'm saying with this? Understand? That sounds magical, right? It's not magical. It's not magical. I literally followed those 4 steps. I listened, I related, I told him my story. I didn't tell him, hey, change your whole life's going to be hell. What I said is, for me, I realized if I didn't change, nothing was going to change. If I didn't do something different in the next 5 years, nothing was going to be different. And I let him own his little piece of whatever my story was in relating to him. See what I mean? It's the same. I can literally do the same thing if somebody says, I'm not a salesperson. I totally get it. I get it. Who wants to be? I get uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. I walk onto a car lot. Do you get uncomfortable when you walk onto a car lot to buy a car and they start selling you? I hate that. And the idea of selling something to somebody here, I'd like, give me your credit card and selling something freaks me out. Right? But what I realized for me, when I did my homework here, I realized that what happens inside of this company is not what I thought salespeople were going to do. I'm not running around with a bunch of stuff in the trunk of my car, a bunch of widgets. All I do is introduce people to products that I think they might like. And if they like them, I connect them directly to the company. I'm out of it. It's the coolest thing ever. And they send me checks every single month. It's unbelievable. All I have to do, guess what? I don't have to sell at all, and I don't. What I do is I introduce people to what it is that we have. I let them know the benefits. If they decide to do something fantastic, if they do, I get a commission for as long as they use the product. It's the coolest thing ever. So let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to get involved and not feel uncomfortable like a hardcore salesperson, to be able to do it and help people who need great products get those great products and deal directly with the company and get paid along the way. If I could show you how to do that, not only do that, but build a team of other people doing it and have fun, work with really fun people, would you be willing to keep going down this process? Would you be willing to, take the next look? Would you be willing to take the next step? The answer is of course. Same. Listen, relate, tell stories, answer questions, or ask the question, Listen, relate to, and sometimes you might not have a story to be able to tell. You talk to a person that's saying, look, I make $1 million a year right now. And you listen to them, you go, wow, me too. You can't really relate, right? So that's really, really cool. And I will tell you what, there's some other people that have gotten involved in our business that are very successful prior to getting involved. And I can't speak from being, $1 million a year earner, but here's what I will tell you that they told me. They told me they were bored. They told me they were looking for a challenge. They told me they were looking for something interesting, some legacy. They'd made the money, but they really hadn't been able to contribute in somebody else's life. They wanted to get around something positive. They wanted to make a difference. I don't know if that relates to you, but that's what they told me. That's the reason why they joined, because I asked them the same question. Why would you take a look at something like this when you're so successful already? Amazing. And for me, when I heard their story, I said, you know what? I could go down a traditional path and beat myself up and have to have winners and losers all over the place. And for me to win, a bunch of people have to lose. Or I could get involved in something where I can only win if other people get to win. So that's what I decided to do. So if I could show you what these other super successful people that joined the company did in order to be able to get their head around this opportunity, and if I could show you how I used this in order to be able to build something that I'm enjoying and having fun doing all the time, if I could show you how to match that with what you got going on in your life, would you be interested in continuing the process? The answer is sure, why not? See what I'm saying? You can't give me an objection that I can't answer with this. You can't do it. Anybody think of one? Anybody want to think of one? Give me one that I can't get. Don't have the confidence. He doesn't have the confidence. I totally understand. When you say you don't have confidence, is it confidence in entrepreneurship?
Confidence in myself. I don't have the confidence in myself to talk to the people to do what you do.
You don't have confidence to talk to people to do what I do.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what's your background, sir?
I build computers.
You build computers. So you've lived in a world where you're just dealing with the machines, you're dealing with all that stuff.
Customers.
And you deal with some customers, though.
I deal with customers. It's tough to, customers are tough.
So what do you do with the customers? Do you enjoy that part, or do you just want to get it over with?
No, I just want to repair them and
Just repair the
just
computers and
repair
get
'em
out of here.
and get out.
Yeah. Take your computer, be happy, leave me alone. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Sounds to me you're a little bit like an introverted person. Are you introverted?
Yeah, I'm kind of to myself.
Yeah, me too.
So
Me too. I know it doesn't seem like it. I decide to kind of step out of my shell sometimes because I really, really care and I want to help other people, but sometimes I just didn't find the right vehicle to do it. Every time I tried to do that in the corporate world, I got slammed down. Every time I tried to do that, in the retail world, I got slammed down. So I finally just decided, just leave me alone. I'm just going to do my thing and I'll be fine, right? So that's what I decided for me. And then I got introduced to this thing. And the most amazing thing, when I first saw it, I just don't have the confidence to be able to do this. I don't have the ability to be able to do this. I'm an introverted person. This is built for salespeople. You're supposed to be this natural-born salesperson, have an answer for everything, be able to do all that stuff. And you know what I realized? A lot of the top earners are people like you and me. They're introverted. Isn't that something? That they find a way, because they really care. I know you care about people, right?
I care about people.
You care about people. You're irritated with ungrateful customers, like anybody would, right?
True.
But you care about people, and I care about people. And people like us, we're looking for an outlet to be able to put ourselves into, somebody to be able to care for and help, to be able to contribute to society, to be able to have a stronger purpose for why we're here. And what happened for me is I realized that this was an opportunity for me to learn some new skills, for me to stretch myself a little bit, because if I didn't, I was going to go really, really, really inside myself. You know what I mean? Like, don't see anybody.
feel that.
Don't talk to anybody. Don't do anything. It's just me and my computer and me and my television or whatever. Leave me alone, close the doors. I could have gone that route. And I'm so glad I didn't, because connecting to people that are grateful is amazing. Being able to have a person that when you connect with them, the fact that you connected with them, you help them see a better vision for their future and they thank you for it, it's priceless to me. So let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to use the personality you have right now and the problem-solving skills that you have right now and the personality that you have right now to be able to contribute to the people that you connect with through the products and through the opportunity. If I could show you how to do all that stuff and crack the code, spread your wings just a little bit, give yourself permission to dream just a little bit. If I could show you how to do that, would you be willing to take the next step with me?
I would probably I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
No.
I mean, come on. What else are we going to
If
do?
you're going to be there with me, I would go for it.
Yeah, together, because we related, right? Together, we can do this.
As long as I don't got to get up on stage and talk to somebody.
So long as you don't have to get up on stage and talk to somebody. He says with the microphone. Here, let's cross off a couple things, right? Right? Come on. Go get him. All right. Okay. Does that little role play make sense? And we're going to go through all the objections. We're going to cover them all 21. We're going to cover them all. We're not going to be able to cover them all right in this section, but we're going to be able to do it. Let's go. Let's keep going through this. Limiting beliefs about network marketing, same thing. Limiting beliefs about, backwards. So we talked about listening, asking the questions, paraphrasing. So you mean it's like this? Is that what you mean? Just trying to get clarity. Don't try to win. Don't try to say, well, you're not right. Your objection isn't valid. That doesn't make sense. Ask people for their stories. Tell me your story. Tell me what happened. Step 2 is relate. You see how important relating was?
Uh-huh.
Every single one of them I can relate somehow. And the relating is what gives them ability to understand more fully. I know how you feel. The relating, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Here's what I found. Here's what I realized through the journey myself. Making it personal. Telling stories, yours and others, yours or others. Try not to point at them. Try to point at yourself and how you came up with a solution. And then if I could show you how to get there, would you take the next step with me? Your stories and other people's stories. And step 4, if I would you. If I could show you how to get there, would you take the step with me? If I showed you the adventure, would you join the adventure with me if I showed you? And part of that, did you notice that part of that whole vibe with the if I would you is, listen, what's your name? Heidi? Hi, Heidi. I talk with Heidi and I say, Heidi, the feeling that I want is you and me adds up to 5. 1 + 1 adds up to 5. The feeling is, let's do it together. The feeling is, let me help you. The feeling is, we've got a solution. The feeling is, I get you. I totally understand you. I know the challenges that you got going on in your gut right now. I get it, because I had the same challenges. And here's what I decided to do about it, and if I would you, let's do it together. That's the feeling. Did you feel that when I was role-playing that with the different people? Those that I did it with, did you feel like I was with you? Like we could do this? We could make this happen? You'll get there too. At the end of every objection, schedule the next exposure, not necessarily the next sale. Not everybody's going to join right away. You share the opportunity with them. They come up with an objection. You answer the objection. They're either ready to take the next step. Did you see the question? If I, then would you be willing to take the next step? What's the next step? Understanding more about the product, understanding more about the opportunity, meeting somebody, getting on a 3-way call, going to an event, whatever that next exposure is. The goal is to keep going to exposures and then keep using the objections as an opportunity to build more rapport, more belief, more connection, more understanding, and engage their imagination. If I would you, listen, relate, tell stories, ask questions.
So that is our training for today. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how to effectively help a person get started as a customer or a distributor. But for today, the thing to think about, I want you to just really go through your notes on the follow-up and make sure you're mentally prepared for keeping the conversation going, and that you practice the 4 steps to handling objections. Practice with your friends, practice with your family, practice with your dog, whatever. Practice in your imagination, and start practicing in real life, and you're going to find that your confidence is going to go up, your activity is going to go up, you're going to take more action, get better results, and move forward in your business. So that's it for today. Hope you're all well. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow, helping people get started, getting them off the fence, helping them make a decision. It's going to be great. See you tomorrow.